This is RC.
It's your girl K Marie.
Hey Wilk.
It's your boy Black.
Your girl Lady.
And I'm Sirr. And you're listening to
2020.
2020.
2020.
2020. 2020.
2020 podcast. Bet.
2020. I did that one for you.
Hey, what's up? It's your boy Sirr. And after the latest Business Minute interview with DeAndre Buck, aka Eterniti of Powerlines Poetry and of Merciless Minds Production, we actually continued the conversations after the camera stopped. So decided we drop this for y'all as a jewel. Enjoy. If you're listening to me on SoundCloud, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, you'll find the link in the description below. Go over there, show them some love, leave your thoughts. And again, thank you, man.
Man, thank you. Pleasure. I appreciate it.
Well, stop that one down. That's it, bro.
Cool.
Man.
I appreciate it, man.
Bro, I love doing this because I think the interviewee feels that catharsis as well when you get to kind of revisit all those things that brought you to where you've come from. So it kind of gives me it makes me emotional seeing you talk about I'm being dead ass.
Yeah.
It's when you mention your grandfather and then you mention your uncle and the transparency's there, because I lost my granddad about 4 years ago, and that hurts.
Yeah, it did.
According to the relationship that you have with him, he affects how you pursue things as an adult, as a man.
Yeah.
And that was something that was tough for me to get over. And yeah, I felt you. You wrote a status not long ago about Smokey when he passed, and that you weren't sure if you can make the funeral. To some people, and I'm just being honest with you, to some people I can see how they can read that and not get it. It might come off as selfish, but there's an emotional toll that comes with that.
Right.
And I felt you 100%, because I hate going to funerals to this day. I have a black suit in there that I will not wear to anything else because I hate the feeling when I have to put it on.
Yeah.
And so I felt you 100%. So if anybody gave you shit for it, just understand. I said,
so the crazy part about it is, because I know you don't know this much, so which I try not, when I do interviews, I try not to make them so morbid, what we were talking about earlier. But so Merciless Minds was born from, I have very little family left. I was gonna say, I didn't know if you was still recording.
No.
I was gonna say, if you want to, you can. So
the audio's still going. So
okay.
Just call this DLC.
That's fine. So whatever you want to do. My mom passed New Year's Eve of 11.
No.
And she was one of my biggest supports in music, one of my biggest music supporters. For somebody that didn't really like rap music, she would listen to my stuff. She would promote me. I was her baby. That's my baby. They'll listen to my baby music. So something that I always, which I still don't do it, but I've become more lax about it in terms of converting it into audio, into meanings. So the entire time my mom was alive, I never used any term that could be possibly used to disrespect a woman in any of my music.
Ooh,
so no hoes, no bitches, no sluts, nothing derogatory, anything of that nature. But I've probably said bitch in a record maybe 3 times, but not in reference to a woman. Not in that aspect. I recorded a mixtape, and it was all my life I was told I wasn't good enough, not hood enough. You gotta call them bitches and sluts or boppers and cunts, or else you not real enough. It's me addressing the issue that you don't have to say this stuff to be a man in music. But literally, so I lost my grandfather in 97. My mom passed New Year's Eve of 11. Dad passed July 15 of 15. Grandmother passed. Me and my grandmother shared a birthday. the same grandfather. I'm talking about his wife. We shared a birthday. She passed 2 weeks after our birthday in April of 17. Then I lost my uncle January of this year. So, like, literally, when we talk about immediate family, I've got one uncle, an aunt and his son. They live in Texas. And then my uncle that was my godfather, who was my manager, his 2 kids are still in Mobile, and his wife is in Mobile. That's it. That's all the family I got here. So, you know, I told my lady, I said, you know, do I need to stop making albums? Because it seems like every time I get ready to make an album, I have to add someone to this RIP list. And I was talking to somebody else, and they kind of like a meeting. I know this gets weird for people, but she was like, your people are working harder for you on the other side.
Ooh, I like that.
Than they ever could have done for you on this side. And that touches me, but at the same time, it's one of the reasons I deal with anxiety and I deal with depression, and I deal because, you know, a lot of people, when they go through stuff, they can pick up a phone, they can call their mama or their daddy or their grandparents or whoever the case may be. I don't really have that. So I use my poetry and my music to convert those emotions. I use my haikus to convert those emotions. Because eventually you'll talk to somebody enough and they just be like, oh, I'm tired of listening to this. Yeah, I get it. Especially I talk a lot. You know what I mean? When I'm not talking, something's probably wrong. Just being straight up about it. But yeah, man, I mean, it's a little odd. It's a little odd to, I guess, convert the concepts of what so the music I used to make, not that it wasn't bad music, not that it was bad music or anything like that, but, you know, my whole thing when I first started doing music, I was like, yeah, man, I want to make it big in music so I could buy my mama a house, and she ain't never got to work no more, and my daddy could be good, and, you know, my grandmother could be good. My grandmother had multiple sclerosis. My mom did too. And I got into music for 2 things. It's because I wanted my mama to never have to work again, and I wanted to have enough money to find a cure for MS. When I was 13, like, this is my thing. I was just like, when I grow up, I'm gonna find a cure for MS, or I'm gonna have enough money to pay to find a cure for MS, and I don't want my mama to ever have to struggle again, like ever work again. And my mom and my dad were both in my life, but, you know, everybody go through tough times.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's just life, and nobody ever wants to see their parents in hard times. So those was like some of the driving forces. But now that I don't have those people here to do those things for anymore, now it's like, okay, how can I make sure that my future kids or grandkids or family that I want to have don't have to feel the way that I do right now. So that's why when you brought up the question about the what do you want to do 1, 3, 10, like, dude, legacy. Like, I don't want, if I can get it to where my kids and they kids don't ever have to pay for school, they can go do what they want to do, they can make music. You want to go parachute, I don't care, jump out of a plane. I want you to be able to go do it and just not worry about nothing, because stress will take you out.
Yes, it will.
Stress will take you out.
Kill you.
My grandmother lived the longest out of anybody I just named to you. I'm 34. She would have been 84 this year. My grandfather died when he was 63. My uncle died when he was 56. My dad died when he was 56. My mom died at 51.
Coming from somebody who understands that.
Yeah.
My grandmother died when she was 56. And my mom, she just hit, my mama hit 56 this year, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And that type of thing, I had to fuss at my brother. My brother is my older brother by 10 years, but sometimes we think different,
yeah,
you know, based on the times we're in. So he thinks now, I look down the road,
mm-hmm.
you know. And so I had to my mom was kind of antsy for like this whole year. And I was like, you gotta understand, her mom died at the age she is now.
Yep.
I was like, I'm gonna be honest with you. His name is Pete. I don't mind saying that on the podcast. If you listen to this podcast, you know my brother named Pete. I was like, well, Pete, we don't know how much longer we gonna have mom.
Right.
So we kind of have to take our relationship as it is right now. We can't focus on how things was back then, no matter how messed up it may have been. We got it now.
Right.
So what can we do now?
Right.
So that's what we've been trying to focus on. And like I said, a lot of times you don't want to look at the expiration date, you know, but like with a gallon of milk, you reference that point because you have the you're fortunate to know that, okay, on this date, this is over. We don't come with that. So,
brother,
if anybody feels that, so
it's weird. I didn't realize I'm not the. It's funny because like I take pictures every now and then. People be like, "Yo, you got a picture?" And I'd be like, "Yeah." And then I start going through my phone. And I'd be like, "Dude, I ain't took a picture in probably like months. Like if it ain't a promo picture, like if it's not a professional photo." Unless somebody else took it and we were out somewhere, I ain't taking the picture. I didn't do it. You know what I mean? Unless it's an experience I want 1 or 2 pictures for, I don't take them pictures. It wasn't until my mom passed. I was like, I don't have no pictures with my mama.
Right.
And me and my dad would do a couple of things, but like I took pictures of my dad randomly because he wasn't no picture guy. I made my grandmother take pictures. Every time I would see her, I would take a selfie with her. Like, I made her do that. She hated taking pictures. But I did it because I was just like, my mom is gone. And when it come time to, like, post pictures for, like, I miss you for Mother's Day or birthday or whatever, dude, I got, like, 4 pictures that I can find of my mama. That ain't cool. I don't like that. That's a bad feeling. That's a bad feeling. You know what I mean? So, like, I kept pictures with my grandmother. I had a couple of pictures. But then even, like, my uncle, like, I would see him, but it's just so crazy the way that happened because him and my dad died from massive heart attacks. Sudden massive heart attacks.
So my dad died.
And my uncle was in way better shape than my daddy was. Like, to the point where he started taking better care of his health. He had lost weight. He was doing everything. He was in the yard working with his son. And he said, I need to sit down. I'm trying to catch my breath. My cousin said, I turned around to put a hammer down because they was working on the fence. He said, I turned around to put a hammer down. I turned around. He was on the ground.
Jesus.
He's like, and I tried to revive him. He blamed himself. I said, dude, you can't blame yourself because. So my dad died at my house. And he was hard-headed. We had spent about 2.5 years in and out of hospitals with my mom. Dad hated hospitals. And he was just like, man, I'm hot. I was just like, man, let me take you to the hospital. I ain't going to no damn hospital. I said, man, let me take you to the hospital. He's like, all right, look, I ain't had nothing to eat. I feel like I just need to eat. Let me eat something. And he's like, let me get some sleep. If I feel like this in the morning, I'll let you take me to the hospital. I said, all right, you're going to be hard-headed, but I ain't going to fight you on this. If this is how you feel, this is how you feel. So he ate probably half his plate. We sat up, we talked and laughed and joked about 2 o'clock in the morning. I was like, man, I got to go get some rest. I got to be at work at 8 o'clock in the morning. Cool. I was leaving to go to work the next day. And as always, I would always tell him, like, hey, man, I'm finna go. Be productive today. Like, you know, just being funny. And rigor mortis had already set in.
Damn.
Yeah, he was gone. Like, by the time I woke up and I was headed out the door, 7 something. So within a 5-hour time span. He had a heart attack and had passed away, and that was a little surreal. Just because I was more worried about losing my grandmother because she was older in age and had multiple sclerosis and all this other kind of stuff going on, and my dad was doing pretty good with his health, but you never know, man. Like you never know. The time, nor the place, nor the hour, none of that. And so I started going to the doctor and like I was already going to the doctor, but like I feel anything. I feel any kind of weird that don't have nothing to do with sinuses, I'm gone.
Straight there.
Man, I went to the doctor's like, hey man, I need you to test me for this, and this. You got family history? No, I don't. But this, and this to happen, and I ain't taking no chances. Well, man, you pretty young to be having this. I said, I don't care. I was like, Doc, I don't even have no kids right now.
Right.
My parents had me when they was in their mid-20s. I'm about to be in my mid-30s. I ain't trying to leave no kid when I'm 50 years old. I ain't trying to have my kid be in their early 20s and I'm gone.
Right.
No. Now, don't get me wrong. We don't know the time, nor the hour, nor the place, but I can do everything that I can possibly do to prevent that in a healthier sense.
Right.
Ain't no need in me advancing that time span.
Dialing that clock,
yeah,
right.
yeah. I'm trying to extend this clock, man.
Right.
So, but yeah. So when you said that, I said I was gonna tell you that after we finish with your official stuff. But
if you allow me to share,
yeah, go ahead.
With you, I know we've been talking for a minute, but if I feel like I got to tell you this. So recently, at the beginning of this year, I turned a health milestone around.
Okay.
Highest weight was 363 pounds.
Okay.
Knowing my granddad had bad kidneys, was going to do dialysis, knowing my granddad had heart issues, grandma had heart issues, high blood pressure, everywhere in the family.
Right.
Diabetes, everywhere in the family.
Right.
And it didn't click to me. I came here. My mom's an RN.
Okay.
And I was like, so you back in Mobile, you need to have a doctor. I ain't going to no goddamn doctor. Same. When you said that, I said the same. I ain't going to no goddamn doctor. Because it wasn't so much that I was just, I'm fine. It is that I knew I was going to get bad news.
Right.
Living the life I live and knowing my family history, I
Right.
knew the news I was going to get.
Right.
Man, had an anxiety attack.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know what it was. Thought it was a heart attack. Bro, next day, took my ass straight to the doctor, bro. Was fine. It was just funny. You brought up stress. Work stress caused an anxiety attack. So she was like, all right, you need a doctor. Chose a doctor that ironically knew my mom and knew my mom's best friend.
Right.
Go for my first checkup. All right, I'm expecting some big, huge doctor, tall white guys, talk to him. This little 5'3", 120-pound Filipino woman walked in. She's like, I'm Dr. Lopez. I'm like, no, you can't be. She was, and I'll never forget this, DeAndre. She, and I'm saying this to you because it destroyed me when she said this. She was like, you know the type of lifestyle you're living. You know the family you have. But I'm not here to fuss at you. I'm here to commend you. Cause she said, I will quote her. She said, normally, you guys wait till it's too late. And if you're listening, you can take that any way you want to. You can take that as black. You can take that as man. You can take that as black man. But the point is, she was 100% correct.
Yeah, she was.
Man, from that day forward, bro, health. No smoking in my house. I don't smoke. I don't allow mess, no drama. I surround my stuff with stuff I love.
Right.
I even to the point had weight loss surgery in June.
Okay.
Since then, I've dropped 53 pounds.
Okay.
In like a month and a half. Great. But I'm dedicated to a healthy lifestyle.
Right.
Like you said, seeing all these people pass away. Like, my granddad was that dude. That was my superhero.
Right.
And to see him go the way he did, and I never forget the last time I spoke with him, bro. It was, excuse me,
Nah, you good.
I was going to work, and I had to hurry up because I was doing my taxes online. And he called me from the hospital, and I was like, "What's good, Granddad?" And he couldn't even hold a full conversation. And I knew something was up. Do you ever get that sense that it's near?
Yeah.
That's when it sunk in for me. Because he was like, I just want to hear your voice, man. And I'm like, fuck. Here it comes. Man, went to my lunch break at work at that point. It was like 5-6 hours later. I get a phone call. I don't even want that shit. I'm in the car. It's my mom. My mom, I love my mom. And I appreciate this, and I'll try to do a better version of this growing up if I have kids. My mom has no filter when it comes to telling you the truth. She's gonna give it to you as it is, whether you like it or not. That way you can't say she lied to you.
Right.
And I appreciate that. But my mom was like, he's gone. And I was so mad at her for saying it that way.
Yeah.
But I had to digress because that was her dad.
Yeah.
And man, that destroyed me, bro. That destroyed me. That left like a lasting impression on me to the point where I didn't deal with it. So I dealt with the stress. And what I thought was just me tripping was actually depression.
Yeah.
What I thought was me having panic attacks was actually anxiety.
Yep.
It's funny you brought all this up. I hadn't even told you this.
Yeah.
You know, if you listen to the podcast, I told men this is the first real conversation we've ever had.
True.
And man, it's so crazy. Like I feel like God surrounds you with people that are going around with similar situations, and you may not verbatim have that discussion, but their testimony will tell it all.
Right.
And I felt that with you, bro. I feel you 100%. And like I said, I plan on trying to extend my life longer. My birthday is actually next week.
Okay.
I'm gonna be 32, and
Happy
that's
early
what I'm
birthday.
thinking about. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's like I could go at any minute, you know. So what about after I leave? Like I can't be that selfish,
right,
and only do what I want to do. I got nieces here. I got a brother. God forbid I leave before my mom or brother do. Like what?
Right.
So I feel you, brother. I commend you on that mindset.
I tell you, it's just crazy that you said the thing about the whole panic attack. That's what made me go to the doctor, because between work stress and some other stuff that I was dealing with, or whatever the case may be, I try to meditate and listen to, like, you know, singing bowls, and I burn candles, and I try to get my mind right when I get into work. I do this every day. They look at me crazy. I don't care. I'm just that type of guy. But work-related stress caused me to have what was an anxiety attack or a panic attack, but I thought it was a heart attack. Like, I mean, chest. I started having my heart started palpitating.
Yep.
Heart started palpitating, and I felt like this like sharp pain, and I was like hurting and stuff. And I literally, as soon as it calmed down, I picked up the phone and I was just like, "Hey, I need to come see a doctor. I'm off tomorrow. It was just like, okay. Came in, did some blood work. It was just like, you know, your cholesterol a little high, but other than that, you know, you're pretty good. And I was just like, no. She was like, you can't tell me all this stuff I was experiencing is just in my mind. It was like, no, you know, you need to find ways to de-stress, but, you know, stress will kill you. I was like, clearly, but that's what it was, man. And I just, like, ever since then, I've just been kind of trying not to let stuff get to me. But it's so hard when you have this idea in your mind of, I need to do this. What are we talking about? I need to do this, and this. I need to be here by this time. And I just got to find ways to make it happen, which is what made me bring up the thing about Vito, because we had actually started recording music. That's probably who you saw me with at Blind Mule. We had started recording music, and we was just like, so we're just gonna be Eterniti in my house? Like, what are we gonna do? I was in the limo leaving the gravesite for my uncle's funeral. We were headed to the repast, and I was just sitting there. I was in the limo, and literally I had an epiphany. Sounds weird. It's like a somewhere, and I went Novocaine, and it was like, huh? I was just like, we should name the group Novocaine. Why? Novocaine numbs pain. I use music to cope with my anxiety and my stress. That dude ain't never stressed out about nothing, because he has learned to master the fact of just chill.
Zen.
I don't have that. I use music and poetry to cope, and I have been using that as a coping mechanism since my grandfather passed. That's how I started writing. I started taking the anger and everything I felt from losing my grandfather, and I started converting it into a positive energy when I started writing.
Wow.
So I was just like, Novocaine. That's it. Spell it different. You know, the NOVA is supernova. It's explosive. Cane in Hindi is like a woven fabric. So the combination of the two, it was like we make very, very explosive personalities, but at the same time, we got two different styles that mesh well, interwoven like fabric.
That's dope.
Numbs pain, you know, Novocaine, numbs pain, music. So that's why, like, we did the music is my medicine, and you know, all of that other kind of stuff. It's just, I feel like I hate the term "in my bag," but I feel like I'm in my element, making this type of music. And that's another thing too. Hopefully one day I can introduce you to the various people that I work with music wise. No, you good. That I make music with, just because they all got different personalities. But somehow we all mesh well. Like the type of music I make with NY is super, it's like real gritty, super explosive. Music I make with myself is more political and like empowerment and I don't know, just lyrically focused, like lyrically goal focused and stuff like that. Then the music I make with Beto is just fun. Like it's just, you know, you could smoke, you could chill, you could ride, you could screw, you could do whatever to that type of music. It is the most, you said zen. It's a great way to put it. It is the most zen music I've ever made in my entire life. It is like the most peaceful, laid back, and I ain't not boring, but it is the type of music where you want to ride and clear your mind. This is what you need to put on.
It's funny you mentioned that. I recently, as my coping mechanism, music has been it.
Okay.
And my problem with, and I hate to sound like this, I don't want to sound like an old school purist. My problem was that I didn't relate to this music now.
Gotcha.
And so I found myself lingering in the past.
Right.
Until, and God forgive me, I was stubborn. I'm a stubborn I'm a stubborn fan of a certain type of hip hop.
You're Leo?
I am.
Yeah, I'm a fire sign, so I'm an Aries, so I get it.
Right.
I get it.
Right.
I get it.
My brother's in Aries.
Okay.
So coincidentally, that's my best friend as well. I tell that nigga everything. But I had to forgive myself, and I'll explain what I mean. I was so confident that the music I was listening to was for me that I wasn't allowing room for anything else.
Gotcha.
And so I'll never forget, and this is just in terms of music, using him as an example. Heard Mac Miller died.
Yeah.
Unfortunate situation. I heard it was due to an overdose. Me being, I was so unhappy with myself that I was detached from hearing stuff like that. Due to me having deaths in the family, stuff like this. And I'm like, oh, he died from an OD. Well, shouldn't have been OD. Shouldn't have been doing the drugs. And looking at myself now, that was so disgusting of me to say, like, and think. And I'll never forget, I heard him, it was on Facebook, one of his songs, can't think the name of it, but he did, it's this group that does music in like this cubicle office setting.
Like Tiny Desk concert.
Yes, he is Tiny Desk concert. I watched it from start to finish and got a full view of him. And I lamented. I was like, wow, we lost a gifted gentleman. Yeah. Like, I may not agree with what he was talking about. Right. But his passion was there and I could respect it. He refined his craft and his wordplay because it was layered. And I went back and listened to all his old music. Okay. And now they got newer artists, YBN Corday, I think. He had an album come out called The Lost Boy. Somehow heard some music, and I've been bumping that. And I'm transitioning from listening to, I guess, the older style to this more current. Not every song got to be about violence. Not every song got to be about drugs or the struggle. Maybe I just need to hear someone venting. Right. And then it lets me know it's okay. That's when I attached to the J. Cole's, to the, I even started listening to instrumentals more. It's so crazy that I started listening to instrumentals from people over the seas. Like, I got a Japanese cat that I listen to called Ginseng, Nujabes, a Moroccan cat named Saib. Like, their music is just as potent as potent lyrics.
Yeah.
And that's really been it for me. Lo-fi beats, like beats to study to and stuff like that. I'm starting listening to that. And man, that stuff, like, people have their cigarettes. I have my music.
I tell you, when you talk about, so I'm the same way. Mm-hmm. I was that guy that's just like, man, I don't want to listen to nothing on the radio right now. Right. When I promoted myself, it was just like, yeah, this ain't your radio music. I'm sorry. Right. But with that being said, like, Lil Baby and Gunna is like a guilty pleasure for me. Like, it's a lot of that music when songs come on the radio, I just change the channel. But it was Drip Too Hard.
That song is hot.
When I first heard Drip Too Hard, I was just like, who is this? And it was like it's the same guy that you said you didn't like. I was like, well, I like that. Right. Okay. Let me peel back. Let me go back. I started listening to some other stuff. I was just like, yo. Okay. So I have music for moods.
Yes.
So when I want to go out, that's when I listen to my guilty pleasure music. That I think is a guy. I think his name is YK Osiris. He's got a song called "Worth It." I like that. I like the Lil Baby Gunna. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some cats that's got some music out that I'm into, and then there's some cats I just like. I just can't get into it. But there's a crowd for everybody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's an audience for every type of artist.
So diverse.
You know what I mean? The type of music that I make, somebody might be like, oh man, that's old nigga shit. Like, you don't want to listen to that. You know what I'm saying? Hey, it ain't for you.
Right.
It's not for you. And I get it. But, it is what it is. It's what I like. Talking about instrumentals and stuff like that, I came across a friend of mine, a real good friend of mine, put me on this cat called Kamal. Now, it's two guys out with the same name. So the guy that she put me on added another A to the end of his. So to differentiate the two.
Okay.
I started getting to, because I'm like a J. Cole, Childish Gambino, Kendrick Lamar fan type guy. Big Sean. I like lyricists. I like Wiz Khalifa. I like a wide variety of hip hop artists, but I like wordplay artists. Mm-hmm. This guy, I forgot what part of Africa he's from. He's from Africa. His style is based off of the dialect from his home country. But when I tell you I had to let you hear it. Like, you had to look it up.
Okay.
But he had this, he called his projects the Kamal cassette. And all the song titles are in his dialect. So like, he got a song called Great, but it's like capital G, lowercase r, capital A with an accent mark. That's it. That's how you spell it.
That's dope.
You know what I mean? And I was listening to some of the music and I was just like, man, that's got like a little vibe to it. But then I started listening to it, and it's a one particular song. I can't think of the name of it. It might be called Canary. It's either Canary or something else. It's one of the two. But anyway, like when the chorus come on, he's kind of singy, if you will. But it's like, where my money, like, and it rides with the beat. But then the line that got me, that made me just go back and start listening to everything, it says, picking cotton for the slave masters. We got a pocket full of slave masters. What? Then I started listening to the replay. Where my money at? So the song is essentially talking about how we went from being slaves of slave masters to owning money printed with slave masters on them, and we are still slaves to the money because we work in an industry that, you know, I myself included, I've always said I'm tired of working to live.
Yes.
I'm tired of, I live to work, because you go to work, you make a check gone. Yeah, you go back to work.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the man on the bottom of the totem pole always do the most work and get paid the least.
Correct.
Period. You know what I mean? So songs that I can listen to like that have multiple layers that I can interpret and be like, yo, what gets me as a musician, you know, or as an artist, because people go, you don't play no instruments, whatever. All right, cool, I get it. What gets me as an artist is if I hear a record and the first thing that go into my mind is, damn, why I didn't think of that. If I listen to a record and go, damn, why didn't I make this record? It's automatically going on my list. Like, it's automatically going on a playlist for me to listen to, because I like to think that I'm innovative when it comes to ideas, but I don't know everything. No one knows everything. But for me to come across something and be like, damn it.
Right.
Like, oh, I could have made that record. Like, it makes me want to get back into doing like mixtapes and taking like other people's beats. Like I used to do like Jacket for Beats and stuff.
Right.
Like, it makes me want to go like those songs.
I've been waiting for someone to do that.
Like those types of songs that catch me like that. I want to get those beats and take those concepts but put my spin on them.
Yes.
And I don't care if I might just do like 10 of them. Do like 10 records and then just throw it on the internet. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is my spin. I use the EP format when I'm in between albums, and that's probably what I'm gonna do for my next one, because I've already started working on my next solo album, but it's
I'm gonna tell you,
crazy.
It's a huge market for that right now. And I don't mean in the sense of like money or anything like that.
Right.
I mean, people are waiting on it because with our age group, we used to do that. Like you said, when you mentioned No Limit. We used to write our own verses to it. I had my own verse to True to the Game's I Always Feel Like. I had my own verse to that.
Right.
And No Limit Soldiers as well. I love that album. I don't care if nobody say top 5 for me. But even when Lil Wayne was getting his traction away from the Hot Boys, he was doing squads.
Right.
Taking people's beats, doing his own thing. And I was loving that. I would love when artists would do that, like you said, for an EP, just in the meantime, between time. Sometimes that would work for a remix. Somebody would take the end of your song, throw a verse, and next thing you know, you got a remix out somewhere.
Right.
I miss that because I as artists, you know, I say artist because I'm a poet as well, and I make beats as well. You often hear a beat be like, you know what would be dope on that? You do that all day.
Do you follow Childish Gambino music?
Yes, sir.
So I got a song called Xanax that was on my last album, and the only reason it's called Xanax, like, people like, you made a drug song? No, it has no hook, so it's just bars. It's just bars. So sitting up, going through YouTube, just letting instrumentals play, and it's funny. My girl was like, "Yo, can you do Xanax to that beat?" And I was just like, yeah, just, you know, playing around. So I wait till the beat drop, I start doing it, and then I got this like pickup verse that I was doing acapellas for shows, and without thinking, I went into it. So I did the entire song, then did the pickup verse. The moment the pickup verse ends, the beat ends.
Wow.
On Bonfire is that beat. Okay. It was the Bonfire beat. So she was like, next show you do, you should do that. Like, try it just to see how people react to it. Did it one time. Everybody was like, yo, what the fuck was that? And from that point forward, till we started doing Novocaine music for shows, I never did Xanax over the actual Xanax beat ever again. Just because the vibe was so different. Xanax, the beat itself was a great beat. It's real chill. It fits the song for what it is, because it's supposed to be like that, just lyrical, you know, head knocker. But that one beat did it just did something else to it, and that's really what made me start going, you know, maybe I should like do this, even if it's taking like songs I already have and reimagining them and like re-recording them over different beats and doing them like that's probably where we gonna go with that.
That's
like,
a hot idea, bro.
So
I remember when I was in college, this was like, I can't even remember the year. It was the year that the Black album had just, I think the following year, so it was 2005.
Yeah.
I think Black came out 2004. Somebody took Jay-Z's verses and put them over the White album with the Beatles, and the Gray album. Hotness. The meshing
I'm gonna have to
style.
find that. Yeah.
Oh, if you can find it, kudos to you, because music labels came forward.
I bet.
The DJ that did it got, you know, the cease and desist letters. He had to take it away. I haven't found it since.
Okay.
But it was an amazing project. I think that's dope, brother. I get that type of vibe hearing you talk about this, but I say all this to say art begets art.
Yeah.
You know, so what you may think is a perfect fit for the time,
Right.
something else might come along and be like,
Right.
hey, that verse was hot there.
Yeah, but it'd be hot over here.
I got a glass slipper right here. That's
Yeah.
all I'm gonna say.
I got you.
So I like that concept. I love to hear that, because even the DJ and you can respect this. I miss Ray Ray so much.
Oh yeah, man.
Mel the Mac, everybody, all those guys. Really, honestly and truthfully, the reason I do this is Ray Ray.
Okay.
Ray Ray, I felt like highlighted everything that was going on in Mobile.
He did.
And I was actually, and I'm his biggest fan. I don't care if nobody say I'm his biggest fan. I don't even really know that. I was blessed enough to actually speak with his son, and I'm going to interview his son coming up.
Okay.
And just to give, I feel like I need to pay my dues that way.
Right.
To do that, it's the least I could do. I can't interview Ray Ray, but I can interview his seed.
Right.
But I remember on Fridays, he'd have like this mesh that would play with comedians doing their sets, and he'd mix like instrumentals with it.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then he'd take the instrumental of that song, mix it with the verse of another song, and it was like a rotation of art. And I just loved that.
Yeah.
Like, you doing that would take me back to the 90s, getting picked up going to Fonville Elementary with a uniform on, trying to eat a sausage biscuit before I got to get
That's dope.
Bruh, that would take me back. I feel like, even if the young cats don't get it, I feel like we would.
Yeah.
You know, our age group would totally latch on to that.
That's dope.
Man, God, I love that.
All I do is give me the fuel to make me want to do it even sooner.
Do it, bro. do it. And I'm glad, man, that we actually got to have a little bit of this conversation afterwards, because now I got a podcast episode I could drop on their ass.
I'm sorry, I talk a lot.
Bro.
It's been fun though, man.
I'm glad, brother. I'm glad. I appreciate it. Now I can strike your name off my list. I don't know if you can see it. If you lean, you see D Buck on there. I can strike you off.
There you go.
Yeah, man. Thank you for coming through. I'm always super nervous about inviting people over, because I'll be like, man, they're gonna be like, I ain't gonna come to your house, nigga. I don't know you.
Yeah, no.
But this, honestly, what it is, my laptop died, and I lost so many interviews with my laptop dying. So I got to use old Bessie, but I love you, Bessie. Don't go out on me. But I appreciate you, dog.
Oh, no, always, man. I appreciate you.
Give me validation of what I do, man.
This is and you know, it was funny because you was like, you know, do you want to come over? Do you want to do the phone interview? I like conversing in person.
Yes.
The interaction that you get conversing with somebody in person is much different than just talking to somebody over the phone.
Yes, it is.
So I always prefer face to face. I mean, I ain't talking about just for interview purposes. I'm talking about period.
Right.
Be like, hey man, I'm gonna call you. I'd be like, what are you doing? Like, nothing, bro. I'm at the house. Come by.
Right.
Come by, bring a 6-pack. Let's chill. Let's go. You know, do whatever. So this was dope. This is dope.
Yeah, I try to make it as comfortable as possible. Yeah, man. I hopefully I get to get more members of the community involved in this. And like I said, it's funny. Like, I didn't even know about Powerlines before I started interviewing y'all. Like, it just so happened. Like, Ray was like, "Yo, you should talk to Roz." I'm like, "Okay, what's Roz's number?" I called and we did the interview on the phone. So now, Rosalind, if you're watching or listening, I got to get you in person. Because, man, she blessed my heart, bro. Like, if you get a chance to hear her, like, we talked about her being a realtor, but a lot of the knowledge she gave, I feel like is way beyond her years. Like, and she mentioned she was affected by her grandmother as well. And I get that vibe with a lot of us middle-agers. Like, no offense to our parents, but I feel like we're blessed to have more of a well-rounded situation of life. With the older generation kind of talking to us and getting us on the weekends. My grandmother did the same exact thing.
Yeah, man.
Same exact thing.
You know Rosaleo too, so.
Yeah,
that
my nigga. I dap up every time I see you. Every time.
They call me and Roz twin.
Y'all, I thought y'all were related.
They call us twin because there used to be a spot on DIP called Legends Lounge. Before Powerlines was a thing, this is where all the poets went. Lady Tess hosted a Sunday night there, and that's where we used to go. And more often than not, Roz and I would show up and we'd be dressed alike.
That's hilarious.
But what was weird was one night we pulled up. Both of us had on like black slacks, white button downs, black vests, some type of hat. No, let me make it better for you. I don't have it on now, but I have a pinky band that has the Roman numerals 3, 6, 9, and 12. And I actually, in the song Xanax, I got a line that says Roman numerals on my pinky just to pass the time. Because it's like a clock. That's what it's meant to be, 3, 6, 9, 12. But it's on a ring. She had a Roman numeral ring on. It wasn't on her pinky, but it was like a band that had all like 1 through 10 Roman numerals. It was a spinner ring, an anxiety ring. And I was like, okay, so we just gonna be twins or what? And she was just like, twin. This started in 2011. We have been calling each other that since then. It don't never fail. It just, so when the whole Powerlines thing came about and we formed, and it's weird, man. I mean, it's weird how things come together. But that came together and it just worked. Like,
God, don't make mistakes,
you know,
bro.
it definitely not. Definitely not. I mean, even talking about like Car, man. Me and Car been knowing each other since 7th grade. We all with she know the Southside stuff. Like that whole story that we talked about earlier. She know that story because she lived through it.
Wow.
She can sing too. She don't talk about that.
She did like a little melody, and I was like,
I made her when the first album I did for Merciless Minds. I asked her to do a poem and just to do the harmony on one of the songs that's on there. It's on YouTube. It's called Stained Glass Window. Look it up. It's dope. But I've been knowing her, but I've been knowing her since middle school.
That's crazy.
And we went to middle school and we went to high school. And, you know, been knowing her through the whole poetry thing and the song. And every time I need to sing a song, they're like, Carl, come on. She's like, I don't want. I'm like, come on. You can tell them no. You can't tell me no. I've been knowing you too long.
Right.
She's like, but I'm older than you. You have like 2 months. Shut up. Come on. Let's go. Yeah, it don't count. Same age, but nah, man, it's been a pleasure. I know SummerSlam is probably on by now because we've been talking for a while.
Yeah, it's 7 on the nose.
Oh wow.
Well,
okay.
Hey man. We'll collab again.
Oh, for sure.
Perhaps we'll do a wrestling something.
Hey, there you go.
We gotta talk to you.
Let's chop it up, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.